Banyana Banyana. Them winning AFCON, I remember I was in Birmingham at the Commonwealth Games, and them winning that gave other people within Team South Africa at the Commonwealth Games permission to dream big.
Yeah.
I definitely think that the more you see something, the more you can relate to it. Me, who is from a village in Limpopo, I'm giving other women, other little girls, the yes.
Yeah.
Like I've
yes.
given. Yeah.
Don't hold back. Say it loud. So much has changed since we first, published our first podcast. I've become a mom. Don't get me started. We have won international awards. And now we're launching our season 2 tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. For you that are joining us for the first time, this is a platform that we created for young people to come and speak about issues that affect them. Because we usually say, you can talk about anything, you have the platform, but the question is, do you necessarily have that platform? And like before, like any other episode, we have an amazing guest. We started talking earlier on. I said, no, stop. Because these are the gems that I want when you're speaking during our interview. She is a broadcaster. She is an entrepreneur. She is a communication specialist. And I think you're like South Africa's #1 sports fan. Please, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Maphuti Hlako.
Good evening, everyone. It is an absolute honor to be here today. I'm usually the person on the other side, like in the background, hiding. So to have the literal camera in front of me is quite a thing. Although I do a bit of broadcasting now and again, but yeah.
You're already doing well. For the fact that you're still sitting here, it's okay. Now, listen, I've been following you, and you have quite a fast-moving career. I just want to start, what are you doing? What are you up to, at the moment?
So I have a consultancy, which is a one-man show. By man, I mean woman, me. And it's called Maphuti Hlako Media. So I am currently consulting for organizations such as World Rugby. I work a lot with SASCOC, who are the body in the South African sport. I work with brands that I can't mention. So I'm a big sports fan. So I work with across cricket, rugby, do track and field. I've probably done plenty of sporting codes within my very short 11-year career. Yeah.
We're going to unpack some of those things. But before we continue, it's a tradition. I ask each guest to bring a snack that we can share in studio. Let me just actually be very transparent. So there was a chef that we had hosted a couple of episodes ago. And most as a chef, you think to yourself, there's going to be a delicacy, they brought fries. It was quite a disappointment, I must admit. There was a special story behind the fries, but they were still fries from a chef. Yeah. Now, without going into much detail about why you brought the snack, tell everyone who's joining us, what did you bring?
I brought 2 snacks because I'm extra. And the extraness is the Doritos hot flaming, I don't even know the name, the red ones. It's the red Doritos that I absolutely love. They are hot. They're a little bit like me, feisty, but you can't just eat them alone, You have to share them with people, and I share them with my 2 nieces. They know that, this is the go-to snack. That
as soon as it's open.
Yeah, as soon as it's open, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's finished. And then this is a very special drink for me personally, because it's my dad's favorite drink, and he's the main reason that I'm in sports today. He is the person that sat me down and said, that's soccer and that's Ronaldinho, and he's one of the best in the world. And I was like, tell me more. And my dad also used to drive me in his work van, actually, me and many other children, and took us to athletic tracks. When we had meets, my dad would, he would drop us off and pick us up afterwards. So, he's the main reason that I'm in the industry. When I went to university, he was the one that thought it was crazy for me to go and study sports management. But he was like, I believe in you, and I know that whatever you put your mind to, you achieve. So, sure, I'll drop you off at University of Pretoria, and he's been kind of the main inspiration and the main supporter, him and my mother. So this is, it's a fermented green tea infusion drink. I don't know why he loves it, but he does. But I actually discovered the mango flavor over the weekend. So I was like, I'm in love, and this is my go-to.
Fermented
green tea infusion. So it's very healthy, which is great. So it's got a quite an interesting taste. It's not.
I can't wait.
So it's gonna be great. So that's my reason behind the snacks.
Okay, so we are gonna taste the snack later on, but let's get into your career. You mentioned rugby just a short while ago. Talking about rugby, so our boys just won their 4th championship. Great. I know what I was doing at that final whistle. I was running around the house thanking Jesus. At one point, even my husband was like, what are you doing in the kitchen thanking Jesus for? What was going through your mind at that final whistle?
I actually, probably 12 minutes before the final whistle, I was actually at an event in Cape Town doing the World Rugby WXV. It's a women's 15s tournament. We had 6 countries come through and play rugby, tier 2 rugby. It's growing the women's sport, which is fabulous. Kudos to World Rugby for that. So I was with SA Rugby staff actually in one room because, if they win, then some of them are getting bonuses. So everybody was kind of, hoping that happens. And I actually said, we're going to win this game by 1 point. And everybody just looked at me like, that's wild.
Gosh.
That's not going to happen for a 3rd time in a row. I said, this is going to happen. And then it happened. And I lost my voice. I never lose my voice.
Of course.
Yeah, I lost my voice. We celebrated like it was kind of a family affair because it was quite personal to so many of the people there because they work for SA Rugby, so them winning, some of them were already planning the trophy tour, so it was quite close to them, and it was amazing to actually see what it meant to different people in different ways. We also had our World Rugby colleagues who are Irish, some of them are from England, so they walked the journey with us, and it was quite amazing to see it through their eyes.
Can I tell you something? You were speaking earlier on, you're from Limpopo, right? I'm from the Eastern Cape in Gqeberha, and I don't generally watch rugby, I'm not a sports person. But there's but there's something about watching that tournament that I had chills. In your opinion, and where you come from your experience in the sports industry, what just made that win so sweet and just what South Africa needed? Yeah.
So I actually was able to go to the first week of the Rugby World Cup. I was in France. I was in Paris for the week. And it was actually just being there. And I remember when I went to the Louvre, I wore my Springbok shirt and everyone around me, everybody just wanted to greet me and say hello because we are the current world champions. So it meant a lot to so many people, not just in South Africa. And just being there and being a part of the Rugby World Cup spirit, and then coming back home to see South Africans just, it being so, it was tangible for them. Like it was, and it's mainly obviously about giving hope, but it was actually like people can take it and make it their own. It wasn't necessarily like that in the 2019 Rugby World Cup because people knew of rugby, and especially the black community, they knew of rugby, but it wasn't really a personal thing for them. I think 2023 was different. It was more personal to every single person, so they could make it their own. And for me, I was just so proud. I have a few of the guys on the team that are personal friends of mine.
Yeah.
So it was really amazing to actually just walk that journey with them. One of the players' wives is my best friend. So it was amazing to actually just, even though I wasn't there, to just be like, so what's happening? How's the vibe? So it was amazing. Really, really it was, yeah.
Just generally talking about sport, I'm quite also very excited about how, in my opinion, we've been able to develop not only, sports that are dedicated to men, but also how women has risen, right? We're talking about Banyana Banyana that did very well in the African World Championships. We're talking about the recent ladies that a hockey team that qualified. We're talking about, we hosted the Netball Cup. Just talk me through some of the milestones that you have personally witnessed, particularly when it comes to women's sports in South Africa. And where are we heading?
Yeah, so I was in 2021. I was in Tokyo with Team South Africa. I was press attaché, which is media manager for Team South Africa. It was my very first one, and it was incredible. There were no fans allowed, unfortunately, at the games, but it was so special. And when Tatiana Schoonmaker broke the world record, she got out of that pool and literally gave me a hug in that wetsuit. So I've seen it firsthand, how incredible it was. I was also at when Bianca Buitendal, who was a surfer, out of nowhere, she literally won a silver medal for South Africa. I was there. I saw what it meant to her. Just the tears in her eyes. Those two ladies carried South Africa at the Olympic Games. Those were the only three medals, with Tatiana also winning silver. So those were the only medals that Team South Africa brought home. That on its own deserves a hand of applause, honestly. It was amazing. So I'm blessed enough to have experienced women winning, and winning at the world's biggest stages. Banyana Banyana as well. Them winning AFCON, I remember I was in Birmingham at the Commonwealth Games, and again, them winning that gave other people within Team South Africa at the Commonwealth Games permission to dream big. And that is very important, especially when we're women and we're coming from a kind of in the background. We do things quietly, or we're told to do things quietly, and then you see just this force coming up and commanding respect, which is what Banyana Banyana have done. And for them to actually reach the knockout stages of a FIFA World Cup speaks volumes. And it shows that we are going somewhere as women. But it's amazing to see the backing of men in the women-focused industries and in the women's game. And I've seen it. I
saw Sia singing Amakwijo at the Netball Championships.
Exactly that. Like Sia Kolisi, who's the captain of the rugby team, going and supporting women. That's what we need. That's what needs to keep going. I've had men in my industry cheer me on and actually put me on and just say, based on what I can do or what I've been blessed enough with, them seeing it. Because unfortunately, we still get women on women hate. And I can understand it because there isn't a lot of us. And once you're at the top, you want to stay there, and I am doing everything in my power and my little influence that I have to make sure that other women are coming up with me.
I was actually going to ask that. I just saw Patience walking in, a guest from our last season. Hey, Patience. And I remember our episode, she uses sports to inspire other young girls in a community. And I wanted to ask, what needs to unlock, whether it's in our policies, I don't know, what needs to unlock to make sure that the likes of Patience and so many that are coming from a community get to sit like this and talk to me about some of the journey that they traveled and becoming successful in that field, because that's what they essentially want.
100%. So I definitely think that the more you see something, the more you can relate to it. So
I like that.
I really believe that if you give women exposure, I mean, we watch tennis because of people like Serena Williams, right? And it happened in Australia as well, where the most people that went to the FIFA World Cup, Women's World Cup, were families. Why? Because they could see the sport, and they were like, okay, now that we're seeing it on television, we can support it. right? So I think that exposure is actually the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's the biggest. It's so important that we see exposure through media, which I'm a communications specialist. My work is literally to give women and men and everyone that I work with exposure.
Yeah.
I give brands exposure. So I really believe that that's the biggest nugget. And unfortunately, public relations and communications, when it comes to brand building, is like number last on the list.
Yep.
And we keep having to fight with no budgets. Really, we keep having... I always say that public relations is literally selling your soul for coverage, because that's what we do. You know, we don't get a media budget.
Yeah.
That's not public relations. That's not communications. That's literally media buying. You know, so if we can give women more exposure, I'm telling you, many more people will be inspired.
And what I'm taking from it is also the importance of representation, especially at those levels. You know, when the Banyana team also came back, I thought it was long overdue. The fact that, you know, they're going to be paid what's due to them.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that needed further discussion. They played at that level, and they achieved remarkable, you know, results. They should be paid what is due to them.
Yeah.
And I think that will be a good starting point for me personally, not to relate to in terms of, you know, the gender and anything like that. They're sportsmen and women, and they need to be paid what is due to them. I think that's how the industry needs to change over time.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
I'm going to break for a short while on the questions. I want to play a little game with you. We call it the rapid fire questions.
Ooh.
Don't think about it too much. 10 seconds or less. First thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay. Favorite snack, cheat snack.
Favorite cheese?
Cheat snack. Favorite cheat snack.
Doritos.
Okay. You're attending a red carpet event, but your partner can't make it. Which other South African athlete would you invite to be a +1?
Akani Simbini.
Okay. Ultimate South African role model.
Ultimate South African role model. My mother.
If you can represent South Africa at a sporting event, who would you choose instead? Is there any other country that you will represent?
Ooh. I am extremely proudly South African. Like, it's actually quite crazy how extremely South African I am. Germany, of course.
Good answer. Good answer. Okay. Run the Comrades Marathon. Or spend 3 hours in Joburg traffic.
Joburg traffic.
Definitely. Definitely. My husband is... Oh, I'm just going to be one of those girls now that you usually phrase my husband. By the way, it's at the back. He is a triathlete. He does like swim, cycle, and the other stuff. And I usually say, you can just do Comrades. It's like, no, it's a totally different sport. You can't even compare. I won't relate because, like, I don't do any. As we were talking about your sports journey, I also want to ask you, where to from now? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
So actually, I was having a conversation with Elma Smith, who used to be at Jacaranda FM, actually. And I was having a conversation with her probably like at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I said to her, how are you coping with the weather in the UK? Because one of the reasons that I haven't moved abroad ever is because of the weather. And I love South African weather. Love it so much. But I think, and I believe that there's a place for me on the global stage.
Yep.
And I'm ready to step into it.
Amazing.
So it's not a 5-year or 10-year plan anymore. It's kind of now. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. And it's not necessarily moving to another country. It's having a footprint globally. And yeah, I think it's kind of harvest season for me. In that, as I said, my 11-year career, I've kind of had to start from the bottom, literally. There's nothing in the marketing and sponsorship industry that I haven't asked to do, or done, that I think I think that's where we're going. That's where we're going. That's where the mindset is. Yeah, let's run these global events.
And what do you think it is about that next level that will basically elevate your career? What is it about that level, that step that you need to take to be in the global stage will definitely take your career to the next level?
So I think that the kind of people and environments that I've been in is kind of, I think the universe is waiting for me to step into that. Going to the Olympic Games for me, which was in 2021, I had never been overseas before.
Wow.
So my first overseas trip was to Tokyo, Japan.
Excuse me.
Yeah. And I was like, what on earth is happening?
Right.
I've always dreamt really big.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that I want to see what's next.
But there's something about that trip that unlocked so much for you, is it?
It gave me permission.
Yeah.
That very trip gave me permission to call myself a global citizen.
Yes.
It did. I remember I didn't know what happened on the other side of when they check your passport. My passport I had it since 2015. Had it since 2015 because I was ready. I was ready for the moment to happen. And that moment happened in 2021. And after it happened, I was like, this needs to be stamped twice a month,
Assembly.
3 times.
Yes. Until they say there's no space. Do you get what I mean?
For them to actually be like, ma'am, you need to go make another one. Yes. So when that again, I think it's very important for when somebody who looks like me does something.
Yeah.
It allows the next person who looks exactly like me to say, hey, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I've got, as I said, I've got 2 nieces who are they're my cheerleaders. And it's so amazing. I mean, my niece, the youngest one is 8 years old, and whenever I post something, she will send me a voice note saying, "Ooh, looking so beautiful." And that's because she's confident, and once you have a confident woman, ladies, you can back me up on this. You are incredibly unstoppable. So with that, I know that me, who is from a village in Limpopo, I'm giving other women, other little girls, the yes.
Yeah.
Like I've given them, I've given them the yes to be like. I mean, so many of them have never been on an aeroplane.
Yeah.
So many of them have never been outside of Limpopo, but they know somebody who has.
Yes.
And that alone can set somebody free.
Listen. I usually say when I speak to people, about different parts of my story, I say to them, may you find parts of yourself in my story.
Yeah.
And speaking to you tonight, I find parts of myself in your story. That's why you going into that world stage is so important for the likes of me, because I get to see myself in your story.
100%.
Okay?
Yeah.
So go soar, go out there. The world is waiting. We can't... we need it.
Yeah.
We need it, not only for us, for our community, for our country. We see where these hope stories, what they get to do, what kind of hope they get to give us. So, Baba, go soar. The world is waiting.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to end off my questions there before I start getting emotional. Before we end off the show, though, or the episode, rather, let's taste the hot Doritos.
Yes.
I'm particularly interested also in the fermented green tea, because I have a very interesting story with the green tea. If you've been following me for quite some time on social media, you would know. I'm going to start with the green tea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be careful when opening it.
Yeah. I opened it earlier on. You're going to have some also, hey?
Yes. I love it. I mean, I had it this afternoon while driving up from Polokwane. I bought, if anybody else wants, I've got a 6-pack in the car.
Okay, cheers. It's very nice.
It is nice. It is nice.
I had second thoughts there.
No,
I was like,
it is nice, yeah.
No, let me have another sip. Okay, no, it's very nice. I'm going to have one piece of the Doritos. Are they quite hot?
One. No, they're great.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. No, they're not that bad. Yeah.
They're very cheesy.
Thank you so much once again, Maputi, and I can't wait to reference when I see you on TV. I interviewed her. Go and check my episode on Don't Hold Back. But yeah, we wish you all the best, and thank you so much for joining us today.